right, welcome to my next video. I'm going to talk a little bit about the genius of Tony Iommi. That riff that I was just playing is one of my favorite finger exercises. It uses the G minor scale. It's in the style of Tony Iommi. It was inspired by the end of the song Black Sabbath. So that's the first song on the first record. So the first song on the first record, the record's called Black Sabbath, the song's called Black Sabbath. If you go on YouTube and you look, I noticed that there's a couple of different videos. They're all on the official Black Sabbath YouTube site, but the one that has a picture of the album, that's the one that I'm familiar with. It's mostly in G minor, and that part, the last part of the song, comes in around 4 minutes and 50 seconds. I also noticed that there's a video that has a live performance. They must have lip synced it because but it's also tuned down a half step, so it's in a different key because it's a half step lower, so you would need to retune your guitar if you were trying to play with that one. I probably would just play with the one that has the picture of the album. So in understanding what Tony Iommi does, we're going to take a look at a couple of different things. We're going to look at the G minor scale, we're going to look at digital patterns, and we're going to look at some modern music theory understandings of how to break stuff down, and these are usually called cells. So the first thing that I want to talk about is I want to talk about the G minor scale. And so, whenever we talk about scales, I teach a lot of lessons, and I talk about this stuff a lot in lessons. And so one of the examples that I often talk about whenever I talk about scales, because at university and whenever we study improv or teach it, we talk a lot about using scales, and there's often a little bit of confusion about what scales are and how we use them. In scales, there's a formula to spell the scales. And so for a minor scale, the formula, which I have it written right here. Well, actually, I don't have the formula written here, but I have the scale written here. And so this is the scale. And so it's whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. And I actually always type these things up. I don't know if anybody's checked out my Patreon, but these pieces of literature and the exercises that I type up for this stuff, I always put these up on my Patreon. So if you want to go there, you can buy them, or you can join my monthly Patreon. You can have access to all the stuff. Right now, there's only a few things up there, but I'm doing a crazy discounted price of $5 a month because there's only a few things up there, but they're very valuable. I have what I call the Lou's music theory cheat sheets, where I list the formulas for scales, I list the formulas for interval spelling, and a lot of other important information. Sorry about that. So, but whenever we look at the scale, that this was the thing from an improv perspective, I always say that the scale it's like the ingredients. And I was telling this story there, as I was saying, it'd be like if you rented an Airbnb and it had a professional kitchen in it, and the kitchen had ingredients to make bread, all kinds of bread. You could make sourdough bread, you could make baguettes, you could make pretzels. So there would be this variety of ingredients. I don't know how to bake. If I was trying to use the ingredients to make bread, it would probably be a disaster. But what I would probably do is I would probably try to mix like maybe equal parts of all the ingredients. So maybe a cup of flour, a cup of salt, a cup of baking powder. That wouldn't work at all. It'd be a disaster. So what I would need is I would need a recipe, or I would need somebody to mentor me and show me how to do it. And so a lot of times when people are learning songs from albums, trying to learn stuff from books, what we do in guitar lessons, it's kind of a combination of both. I try to show you the recipe. I also try to mentor you. And so I have a different video on using the major scale to play solos in the style of the Allman Brothers. I kind of demonstrate that you focus on the primary notes of the scale and then you use the other notes to embellish it. Well, in this case, Tony Iommi is writing riffs, and he's using a minor scale, and then he does this. It's very cool and very smart. Tony Iommi is a genius, that he does these, what we refer to as digital patterns in music theory. And so first, let me show you what the scale is. So we're going to start our scale on G, and G is it's the 3rd fret of the 6th string. I have my chart back here that I made. This is the E string. String 6 is E. So if I'm trying to find G, I'm going to go E, and I'm going to go 1 fret, 2 fret, 3 fret. Each block is a fret, and I'm going to end up on G. If you have a tuner, you actually can cheat. Well, I don't know if it's cheating, but you can use the tuner to assist you in finding the notes. And hopefully you can see this. That's E. And we'll see if I can adjust it so I can make it just a little easier to see. All right, there you go. That's E. So if I play the 3rd fret, that's G. So here's my scale, and I'm going to do it one string at a time. Whenever I learn my scales to memorize them, I always play them in position. Now, this is important. I play the scale in position to memorize it, but if I'm playing a song, I use whatever finger's necessary to communicate my idea through the scale. So look what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start with my index finger on fret 3. I'm gonna be assign 1 finger for each fret. So this is called 3rd position. My index finger is over the 3rd fret. My middle finger is over the 4th fret, ring finger is over the 5th fret, and my little finger is over the 6th fret. So I'm gonna go 1st finger, 3rd fret, 3rd finger, 5th fret, 6th string, little finger, 6th fret, 6th string. Now I'm going to go to the next string, string 5. I'm going to go index finger, 3rd fret, 3rd finger, 5th fret, little finger, 6th fret. Now I'm going to go to the next string, 4th string, 3rd fret with my 1st finger, and then my 3rd finger. And this is the last G, so you can see the notes. G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G. And I'm going to reverse it. And here's my... So that is the G minor scale, 1 octave. I start on G, I end on G. If you have any questions about that, make some posts in the comments, because I could do some videos all about scales. This video is about the Tony Iommi's use of digital patterns to write really cool riffs. So I don't want to get too far off of track talking about the scale. So that's our basic scale. And you can see I'm using 1 finger per fret. 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate how Tony Iommi comes up with these riffs, and it's super neat. And so in this song, there's 3 cells, so there's 3 separate parts to the riff. So the first part is super easy. The first part is the G note, and he does it 3 times, and it's a triplet, so it goes 1 and and you'll notice my picking pattern, down, up, down. In this exercise, I'm going to use, trying to get my hand in there, I'm going to use strict alternating picking, meaning I'm going to go down, up, down, up, down, up. So I'm going to go down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. So that's the first cell. The first cell is only one note. So then the second cell is going to be string 6, fret 6. I'm going to play this with my little finger. Then I'm going to go to the string 5, fret 3. And then I'm going to go to string 5, fret 4. So here's the second cell. And the second cell is going to start with an up. I'm going to go up, down, up. So I'm up pick, down pick on the next string, and then up pick. So it's like up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down, up. That's the second cell. Now the third cell, and this is where we're going to start to get into talking a little bit about the genius of Tony Iommi. It's going to start here on string 5, fret 6. That's E flat. And then it's going to go 3rd fret and then 5th fret. So here's the third cell, and this is the last part. All on string 5. 6, 3, 5, 6, 3, 5. And what I'm saying is I'm saying the names of the frets. 6, 3, 5, 6, 3, 5. So now let's take a look at this. So I have my chart, and this is why it's called a digital pattern, that a lot of classical musicians, composers use this. And so what I'm doing is I'm assigning a number. These are Arabic numerals, that's the regular numbers that we use, and I'm going to assign each one of these numbers to one of the notes of the frets scale, one of the notes of the scale. So the first note of the scale is G. And so the first cell is actually G 3 times. So if I was going to write out the first cell, I would write G, or the number, I would just write the number 3 times. I'm going to do that. So I would write cell number 1. And it's going to be 1, 1, 1. So it looks like this. The second cell, cell number 2. Cell number 2 starts on B flat. That's the 3rd of the scale. It goes 3rd, and then it goes 4th, and it goes 5th. So this is what cell number 2 looks like. 3, 4, 5. And then cell number 3 starts on 6, and it goes 4, 5. And then the pattern of the riff is cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, cell 4. So I've written these out. You'll notice here, cell 1 is 1, 1, 1. This is the digital pattern. So 1, 1, 1 is the first note of the scale 3 times. Cell 2 is 3, 4, 5. So it's 3, 4, 5. So it's B flat, C, and D. Cell 3 is 6, 4, 5. So it's E flat, C, and D. And then the riff is cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, and then it's actually cell 2. I don't know why maybe I'll edit this out later. But so now I'm going to play this. I'm going to go cell 1, cell 2, cell 3. So now I'm going to slow it down, talk about it. Cell 1 is string 6, fret 3, 3 times. 1 and I went down, up, down. So I finished on a down. So now the next note is, it's the 3rd note of the scale, B flat. I'm going to start with an up, move to the next string, down, up, and then I'm going to move on. I'm going to go to cell number 3, starts on string 5, fret 6. So I'm going to go down, up, down. So now whenever I put these all together, so that's the basic pattern with the cells. And Tony Iommi uses this these ideas in a number of different songs. But we could use it if we were to continue the scale pattern. That was G minor scale. I started that on my index finger. We call that form 1. If I put my 4th finger on G, I go 4, 1, 2, bump it up a fret. And then if I start it again, and I'm just going to stay here in position. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the same idea, and I'm just going to look at the notes on the 2 thinnest strings that are in the key of G. So I'm on the 2 thinnest strings in the key of G, I have on string 2, 3rd fret, 4th fret, 6th fret. On the 1st string, I have 3rd fret, 5th fret, 6th fret. So now I'm going to make up my own digital pattern inspired by what Tony Iommi does. And I'm just going to use, to start, 2 cells. So I'm going to start on this note, G, and then I'm going to play on string 2. So I'm going to go on string 1, fret 3. On string 2, I'm going to go 4, 6. Then I'm going to go back to string 1, and I'm going to go fret 6. And then on string 2, I'm going to go 4, 6. So you notice these 2 notes that I'm playing, this is E flat and F. I'm going to have those be the last 2 notes. So I'm going to go G and then E flat F. Then I'm going to go B flat. So I could go if I wanted to, I could add in a different note. This note, B flat's in there. So now I can add a 3rd cell. I'm going to go B flat. So I'm going to go G, B flat, B flat, C. So now, if you notice, I'm always playing a group of 3 notes. The first note is different every time. The last 2 notes are always frets 4 and 6 on string 2. So I'm going to go. So this is the idea of using a digital pattern. And I was inspired by Tony Iommi to do this. And in this instance, I only used the G minor scale. So hopefully you can take these ideas and you can start to do 2 things. The 2 things that you can do is you can start to create your own patterns. And the other thing you can do is hopefully this will help you to break down both solos and riffs, organize your ideas in a way that makes it accessible to be able to play these. So, as always, if you have any questions, leave me a comment. The like and subscribe. I crack myself up because my whole channel is like super new. I think maybe a few people actually have liked and subscribed, which I really appreciate. So like and subscribe, and send me some comments. And I'm planning to keep making videos and posting them. Maybe I'll eventually get a fancy camera. For right now, I'm just doing it on my phone here at my teaching studio in Northern Kentucky. So hopefully it works out all right. All right, thank you. Bye.